All right, welcome to our Mind Awakening channel today. And we are going to be talking about facing the lions. Facing the lions. Now, have you ever wondered why at times, although you have all the good, will, and you have, all the good ideas. But when it comes to actually doing it, when it comes to actually achieving, it appears that your ideas do not correspond with your achievement. It appears that your efforts that you put in do not actually bring forth the necessary results that you are looking for. Well, if you've thought about these things and if you have experienced that, today's lecture is for you. Today's lecture is for you. Now, somewhere, back in 2016, there they were sitting in front of me, um, uh, a very handsome young man and a very beautiful young lady. And they had been married just 6 months before, and they were sitting in front of me asking to get a divorce. And so, I was so, taken aback because had just been married not long ago. And why would they want to be divorced even at this time? Right? But as I listened to them very carefully, I came to one conclusion. They did not have the conditions requiring a divorce. They were just not there. Okay. But then what I could discover was that their mind had actually exaggerated the problems beyond what it actually was. Okay. So they what I had to do was actually to downscale that very problem, in their minds, which they had actually increased so much. And so I spoke to them about this and that. And then finally, I asked them a question. So if you were to travel to Europe or to North America and you've never been there, what would be the first thing that you would do? You've gotten your visas, you have your tickets, but you've never been there. What would be the first thing that you would do? And they said, well, we might call somebody we know over there to find out what the weather conditions were and if somebody would come and meet us at the airport and all that. I'm like, exactly so. So, have you ever spoken to a divorcee before? Since you are going into that terrain, have you spoken to somebody who is already there? And they were like, no. So I was like, wow, you've never been to a certain place and you don't think you have to call to find out how that place works? Is that how ignorant you want to be? Is that how naive you want to be? And so after speaking to them for a while, I realized their minds had shifted. Their minds had shifted. And so, they now told me, it appears we did not think deeply before coming here. So we want to go and think about it more. And then that is how come they left. And the next thing I heard, they were inviting me for a naming ceremony. There are many people who do not know how to control their minds and who do not know even how to regulate their mind. They just make very rash decisions. And that is all because they are unable to face, the lions that come their way. And so that is what I want to talk about today, facing those lions that come around your life. Okay. And so come with me as we embark on this journey today. I would like to share some images with you for as I just explained, okay, as I just explained earlier. Now, your mind can make or unmake you. Your mind can make and make you. Now, this couple I just spoke about, we can see and we can tell they were not in such a big problem as they thought to be. But their mind and their interpretation of the problems they are facing has actually increased the problem beyond what it actually is. Okay. So we say your mind is the blueprint to your life. For every building, there are blueprints. It's just a piece of drawing, a diagram on a paper. But if you get that drawing wrong, a whole building will crumble down. The same way, if your mindset is wrong, your whole life crumbles down. So your mind is actually the blueprint to your life. Now, I double as a reverend minister as well, and there are some stories in the Bible that I do think about. Okay, I do think about, like David killing the lion. And there are times I think, wow, is this even possible that a human being kills a lion with a bare hands? And I think about it in so many aspects. Okay, but then I traveled to Kenya once, and I hear of this amazing tribe called the Maasai. And for every young man there who needs to marry, they need to kill a lion first. And I was amazed. I was like, wow. So the story in the Bible about David killing the lion is not so strange after all. Let's watch this. Okay. Now uh yeah.
Cattle are moving to the Sierra Mush. The horses are waiting in the tall brown grass. Swift and silent in the kill is made. Lions must die, the dead must be repaid. Warriors moving up through the grass, closing for the kill in a brutal response. Spear the explore and the quick and the dead. Lives will be lost and blood will be shed. Lost two fingers on the right. So Pierre pulled from the jaws of death. The walking, the wounded, the dying and the dead. The first spear has the Culkin's name. Tradition demands that he takes the main. Warriors return to Mosiah claim the power, the glory, the status and the fame. Maasai man, Maasai man, Maasai man, Maasai man.
Yeah. So you know, this young man called Lemasulai, Joseph Lemasulai, he was in the Maasai area. And so it got to a time where he also had to face the lion. He had to fight. Now, in the Maasai tribe, unless you face the lion, you are never going to get a woman to marry. So sometimes I wonder if Ghanaian men are transported there, whether we would even marry, we would ever marry. Okay. You needed to fight with a lion to win. That actually initiates you from from teenager or from adolescent to adulthood. Okay, that is your initiation ceremony. You needed to fight with a lion, right? But it got to the point where Leba Sulai had to stand or face the lion, and he got scared, so he ran away. He ran away. And when he ran away, he was called a coward. Now, I hear that being called a coward is one of the most humiliating insults in the Maasai area. He was called a coward. So finally, he could not stay there, but he had to run away from the place. Now, when he ran, at the time he did not have a very great education, so he decided not to run from that as well, but to educate himself. So that is when he made up his mind that he would never run away anymore, and he would never be called a coward anymore. So he got a very decent education, and then he got a scholarship to go to Harvard. Now, although the scholarship was great, everything was going to be paid for, but he needed to raise up money for his ticket in order to go. It was then that he realized the lions are the Maasai tribe. The lions he ran away did not only stay at that area, but now this is another lion in his life. Raising up ticket money in order to go for his education was another lion. So he asked himself, am I going to run away from this, or I'm going to face it? Am I going to run away, or I'm going to face it? Since I have decided in my life that I'm not going to run away again from the lions, let me face it. So he started by going to friends, to neighbors, and telling them about the challenge. And then thankfully, he was able to raise the money for the ticket, and then he went to Harvard University. So he arrived there, he was so excited. First day at class, he was so disappointed. He could not believe it. You know, the other students who were there, they were the best of the best. The lecturer just needs to write the topic there, and everybody was at it. They were all giving their opinions, everybody was talking about it, and it appears they were all so conversant with the topic, they had researched their points, and Lema Solai felt lost. He just felt lost. Oh my God, where am I? Do I belong here? This is a big mistake. What am I doing here? And then he realized this is another lion in his life. Am I going to run away from this, or I'm going to face it? Will I run away? Until when will I keep running away from the lions? Let me face this lion as well. Did I come all the way to this place to just run away? No, let me face it. So he started by going to friends and colleagues and classmates and admitted to them about his difficulty and that he needed their help. And when they saw how vulnerable he was, they started by helping him. They offered their help, and they wanted to teach him. And so he was able to overcome that lion as well. He actually passed Harvard, as one of the best students, So he did so well. And then he completed. Now when he completed, he had this ambitious task or aim of coming over to the Maasai area and helping one child per family get a decent education, because most of the kids there were not educated. So he had this ambitious task to educate a child per home in the Maasai area. So he actually started off by trying to get them educated in the Maasai area. So he moved from house to house telling them about it. But then he realized another thing. This is another lion. This is another lion. It's so difficult to help somebody who does not want to be helped. It's really difficult to help somebody who does not want to be helped. So it was a very tall order, but he discovered this is another lion. Am I going to run away from it, or I will face this very lion? And then he decided to face the lion. Anyway, with the help of corporate institutions, with the help of some government agencies, with the help of individuals, Lema Solai went ahead and then was able to get scholarship packages for kids in the Maasai area, and a whole lot of them got educated. A whole lot of them got educated. Later, he went on to become an MP, okay, a member of parliament in the parliament of Kenya. In the parliament of Kenya. Now, many people just run away from challenges. Many people just avoid difficulties. They just avoid it. But if you want to build muscles as a human being, you need exercises. You need exercises. But if you want to build strong heart muscles, you need challenges. You need challenges. The exercises of the heart are challenges. The more we face them, the more we overcome difficulties, we build strong muscles of the heart to overcome more and more challenges. But the more we avoid them, we actually become wicked. We gain wicked mindsets. Wicked mindsets. Among animals, the elephant is one that has a great memory. But in India, they have a lot of elephant circuses, and it's amazing how a small human being will command a big elephant and they obey and follow instructions. But it doesn't just happen. From their infancy, they are tamed. They are tied by ropes. They are restrained and they are given hooks and chains and the rest so that they would obey what the master says. What the master says. So they actually tame the elephant by restricting it, by giving it so much pain. Okay, so now the elephant now begins to listen to the human being. Now the problem is that you know from their infancy they are tied to chains and small ropes, and even after they have become big to the point where they can actually uproot those trees with their trunks, they still remain, chained to those small chains. You know why? They are now not tied by the chain, but to their memories. There is a story told of a baby elephant that people went to the zoo to look at, and a young man took a stone and threw at a baby elephant, and they left. After 5 years, some people came over to look at the elephant. Now it has grown to become a very big elephant. The elephant was calm until a particular person came to stand there. And the elephant was so pissed, so agitated that it took a stone with a trunk and threw at that very person. And later, when they found out, 5 years ago, this same man threw a stone at the elephant. The elephant didn't remember exactly. That is how good a memory of the elephant is. That's how good a memory of the elephant is. But then because they remember exactly how they were tied to that chain when they were younger, and because at the time they were weak and could not free themselves, they are still tied by that memory and they are unable to free themselves. They are unable to free themselves. We go to several schools and then we give lectures in mindset education. And there's this particular school, the Eastern region, where we gave a lecture, and I spoke about this story, about the elephant story. And I told the kids that, you know what? You may think you are a small elephant, a weak elephant with no power, but that is wrong. You are a big elephant. You have the power to uproot the tree to which you are tied. You are not a stupid student. You are not a dull student. You are a very excellent student. You are the best of the best, and you can do whatever you set your mind to do. And I gave this lecture onto the students. Now, there was this particular student there who both the teachers and the parents think he's retarded. He's not too good upstairs, and so by virtue of that stigma, he's been isolated and he does not mingle with the others. And so that day he heard the story and he spoke to himself, "Oh wow! So I'm the best student after all, and I didn't know." So he went home and he opened the gates to his house and he met his dad. And the first thing he said was, "Hey, dad, I am a big elephant. I have power." And the father was like, "Oh my God, has it gotten to this stage now? Now this guy is no more a human being. He now claims to be an elephant. He's an animal. Oh God, this thing has gotten worse." And the father was so disappointed. But to the father's surprise, after observing this student for about 2 weeks, he realized a lot had changed about him. He is now more serious with how he does his things. He is now more concentrated on his studies, and he was actually doing well. So he was so surprised. Wow, what did this student hear? What lecture was he giving? And lo and behold, he found out from the school that we had actually come over there and given that very lecture. And he was so amazed. He was so amazed. He was really amazed. He totally changed. He totally changed. You know, I don't know what you think about yourself, whether you think you are very excellent, whether you think you are terrible, whether you think you are stupid, whether you think you are dull. I don't know what you think about yourself. Maybe you've had an experience severally, how you've done things and it didn't go well, how you failed at so many attempts that you've tried. But today I have news for you. I have news for you. You are not that dull person that you think yourself to be. You are not that, weak person that you think yourself to be. You are actually the best of the best. You are an excellent person. If you're a student, you are the best at what you do. If you're a businessman, you are the best at what you do. That mind telling you, I cannot do. That mind telling you are a failure. That is why you have failed. Because you says you have failed. You said it. You said you have failed because you have given up. Until you give up, failure is just an experience. It's just an experience. You have just learned how not to do something in that way, such that you can try it another way. It is a wonderful experience. It is actually a stepping stone to success. So until you give up, you have not failed yet. You have just experienced a wrong way of attempting that very problem. That very problem. Your quality of life will be determined by the number of lions you face. How many lions you face and overcome. Because when you avoid, when you run away, those lions have not disappeared. They have just gotten postponed. You are going to meet them later in life. So are you going to meet them now, or you choose to meet them later? How will you decide? How will you decide? Joseph Lebasulai, he ran away once from the lions, but he made a decision he is not going to run away again. How many times will you continue to run away from problems? How many times will you continue to run away from difficulties? How many times will you continue to avoid anything that appears a little difficult or challenging? I tell young people, if public speaking is difficult for you, start practicing it. Start from your small group, from your class, from your church, from any group you find yourself, your friends, even talk to the wall, talk to a dog. Start speaking. Start doing the things that are difficult to you. If some food is challenging unto you, start eating it. You would die. I've not heard of anybody who died from eating food they didn't like. Of course, not what you're allergic to, but I'm just talking about what you generally don't like. All right. All right. Now, do not think of yourself as that useless person who always fails at what you do. That is a mindset you have developed. And your life is going down the drain because of that mind you possess. And I can tell you confidently today that the quality of your life will be determined by the quality of your mind. It will be determined by that, by the number of lions you face, and your life will become worse by the number of lions you avoid. Go out there and face the lions, face the difficulties. Your heart will become stronger, you become better, you become more experienced, you become more matured. More matured. Do you know how many successes you have avoided by avoiding the challenges? I think, God actually disguises blessings within challenges and brings them onto us. Those who avoid the challenges, those who avoid the difficulties, they avoid the blessings together. But when we face them, you will be amazed about the potential that sits in you. You will be amazed about the power that sits in you. You will see all the forces of heaven helping with what you do. So let us go out there and let us freely, challenge the difficulties that come our way. And great and great and great potential awaits you. Thank you. I would like to end here.